Hey everybody, it's Jeremy with Remedy Claims Consulting. I am coming to you today with a video that talks about proper claim order. See, the issue is that nobody is ever actually there when an event happens except for maybe the homeowner. You don't have the privilege of being there at the beginning of a loss. Therefore, you are stuck trying to put together the pieces of a very complicated puzzle and then communicate that to the carrier. So I don't care if you're a roofer or a public adjuster, even an independent adjuster if you're watching this video, claim order is critical because what we're trying to do is tell a story and not a complicated story. We want to break it down like a children's story. So we have words and we have narrative, and then we have pictures or illustrations that go into exactly what happened so that we can be clear about the damage that we're looking at. So it's really important that we pick an order. It doesn't matter what order it is, whether you want to start inside or outside, if you want to start on the roof or you want to start at the fence. The order that I use is pretty simple. I start at the exterior on the roof, and then I work my way counterclockwise around the house. And then I go inside the house and I take a look at any interior damage, and I start where damage is most prevalent, where the origin of loss is, rather. And so if there is a leak in a home or if there is a water loss of any kind, I start where the water loss occurred. And then I work my way out from there, and then I include damages as it begins to diminish. And then I actually even go photograph rooms that don't have any damage, because what that does is it freezes a moment in time. It allows you to say, hey, it wasn't like this on this day. That way, before you mitigate or before you get anything, before you can begin repairs, begin repairs, we may see additional damage that shows up, and you can say, hey, it wasn't like this on this day when I took the pictures, but now that we've begun repairs, we can see additional damage that has occurred. So it's very critical that you go get those things that aren't damaged. That way, if damage ensues and continues on even after your inspection, you have documented proof to show that you have documented proof so that you can add to the claim or write a supplement, whatever your case may be. Again, it doesn't matter what order that you work it in, but personally, again, to repeat myself, I am going to give you the order in which I do it. I work on the roof, and then I work counterclockwise on the roof. Front slope, right slope, rear slope, left slope. And then I go to the elevations, front elevation, right elevation, rear elevation, left elevation. And then because I'm already outside, I may go in and go ahead and work the outside, but the most important thing that comes next in my order is the interior. I then work other structures, which would be any recoverable depreciation other structures, and then I wrap up my claim with damages to non-recoverable depreciation, such as fences and mailbox and swimming pools, things like that. And then you would add the contents there at the end if it needed to be in your Xactimate estimate. The next thing we want to do is we want to take a look at the pictures. The pictures are really critical. So whatever you have estimated, you want to show the pictures of that, the pictures in the order that you took them, and then you also want to show your estimate to match. So if you started on the roof and those are the first pictures anybody sees, you want to see all of the roof estimate line items there. And however it is that you photograph it, you want to make sure that you're telling that story. Me personally, I photograph all of the accessories at the very end of my roof inspection. They're the last photos that I have on there. And then they're the very next, and they're also the last items that I have in any roofing estimate. And you just apply that theory to everything you do. And it's also important in your documentation that you take good overviews so that we can see exactly and have some sort of situational awareness of what is going on. Because if you don't have that, the picture of your left boot doesn't tell us the story. What we want to see is, okay, the damage that he's about to show us is on this elevation or on this slope of the roof. Okay, now I see a little bit tighter view. Now we're talking about a window, and now we're even closer and we can see the damage on the window screen. And your estimate should match that photo order. It's really very simple. It helps keep you organized. So now how do we do this? How do we put this together and make it look like something that the carrier is going to want to look at? Because it's very important to speak their language, because they come up with all kinds of outlandish random theories if you give them the chance. So the important thing is to be crystal clear about what you're asking for. The way that we do that is in the narrative. And that narrative, if you're going to be looking at the roof, so the first thing in your narrative should be the roof, and then whatever else comes in that estimate. So what they're doing is they're looking at an estimate that's asking for money, they're looking at pictures of damage, and then they're looking at your explanation, and they can follow this all the way through the process. Two pieces of software that I use to help me do this. One is Company Cam. I have looked at all sorts of different photo solutions. It is the best end-to-end solution for photo management. It also uploads, like you can be able to take a picture out. You can be on site taking a picture. It goes directly to their website, so someone back in the office can not only see the picture that you've taken, they can see it in real time. And then they can also put annotations or note, maybe take a close-up of this area. You can have communication back and forth. You can chat about the damage. You can then label it, reorder it, put branded reports together, and then there's your photo journal. And it allows you to put together quite the narrative and quite the explanation of the photo that you're taking. And I want to insert this. Labeled photos are critical. Just a picture doesn't always tell the story. I know a picture is worth 1,000 words, but do you really want the person looking at it picking the 1,000 words they think it's worth? Or do you want to put that in their head and control the narrative in this situation? The next thing that we use is called Sumo Quote. Sumo Quote is a critical thing that we use to put together the order of everything. And so sometimes we'll have to turn in our letter of representation, our proof of loss, our license. Sometimes they want to see that, then our estimate, then our pictures. I put this together. It's a branded report. It looks absolutely stunning. Ryan over at Sumo Quote will get you hooked up. I am more than happy to take calls on it. I think it is one of the biggest things that I have discovered in my public adjusting career. It has exponentially increased my income. When I turn this thing in, I've even had results from carriers that you find to be the more difficult some of the more difficult carriers, where they just pay my claim to the penny, and I can prove it to you if you want to call me. I don't want to divulge anybody and look at something that I don't want to put anybody's name out there. That's it. And so if you have any questions, I can give you the inferences of when I did that, or the instances of when I did that, where they just look at the report. This report looks good to us. This is exactly what we would do. We're going to go ahead and just pay the claim. The important part of this is, though, of all of this and putting it in order and making it look good, is it allows you, the public adjuster or the contractor, to control the narrative of the situation. And that's who should control the narrative, because you're most intimately involved in what is going on. You have spoken with the homeowner. You're aware of what the damage is. You have the experience to determine what the process of repair is. Now, I am not saying anything against independent adjusters or the Ladder Now individuals that come out and provide the assistance in getting the claim process, but it is critical that we control the narrative. If you have any questions whatsoever, or want to know some of the different things that I do, or look at some of the reports, feel free to DM me. Again, guys, it's always a pleasure working with you. If you have any questions whatsoever, I'm always here. I always like hanging out and talking and hearing your stories. Thanks again, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.